Hi, I'm Kelsey from Crafting for Weeks, and today I'm going to be showing you the Houndstooth crochet stitch. Now for this video, I'm going to be using a 5.5mm crochet hook, and I'm also using worsted weight yarn. This yarn is Lion brand Basic Stitch, and this is the anti-pilling. I am using two colors. For this particular stitch pattern, you're going to need color A and a color B. For this pattern, my color A is black. Now I like to start with an odd number. If I'm working in rows, that's just my preference. You actually don't have to start with an odd number, but for this video, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to chain 11. And this is just so I know that I have an odd number of stitches. And I'm going to start with a double crochet. So I'm going to chain 2 more so that I can work into that first stitch that I have right there on the end. So I'm going to chain 2 and then work into that 3rd stitch from my hook, which is the last of my chain 11. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, pull up a loop. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is a double crochet stitch. Now in my next chain, I'm going to work a single crochet stitch. So that is a insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. I am working under the assumption that you are familiar with a single crochet and a double crochet stitch. If you are not, I will link a video in here explaining some basic crochet stitches for you. Back to what I'm doing. I am working 1 double crochet followed by 1 single crochet. So I started with a double crochet followed with a single crochet. And then I'm repeating that pattern all the way across, and I should end with a double crochet, which is what I started with. Now the reason that I chose an odd number is for that reason. I like my end stitches to be the same. So black yarn is admittedly hard to see. I'm not going to spend too much time breaking down the stitches here, but I do love the way black is contrasting. So this is my last stitch. I'm going to pull in my second color. I have pulled it through the last 2, and then I'm going to change color here. So basically I'm just going to do my last pull through with the new color, and I'm going to just hold this tail down while I get this row started. Now my last stitch was a double crochet. I'm going to be working single crochets into all of my double crochet stitches, and I'm going to be working double crochets into all of my singles. So my first stitch will be a single crochet, and I need to change color every row, so I'm going to carry that yarn across, which is tucking it behind. I'm putting my hook under, like through the stitch, and then under that carried yarn. And then I'm going to grab my tail here, and then I'm going to work my single crochet into the double crochet stitch. So this stitch pattern is all about alternating stitches and alternating colors. Those are the 2 key points of the Houndstooth stitch. So I want to alternate colors every row, so I'm going to carry my yarn back across with me so I can switch color. I'm going to work a double crochet stitch into this single crochet stitch from the previous row. Again, making sure your yarn is carrying with you. I know some of you are going to have an issue with me using black yarn, but I just want to be clear that I am carrying this yarn back behind here. So I'm going to work my double crochet stitch around that carried yarn. And there we go. So the next one is a double crochet, so I'm going to work a single crochet in it. And I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way across. I'm going to be working single crochet, double crochet, making sure that the stitch below it is the opposite. So my black row starts double crochet, single crochet, my tan row starts single crochet, double crochet. We're going to alternate all the way across. So let's go. Double crochet is my next stitch here. And you'll see as we go that this alternating heights of your stitch is what is going to give you that houndstooth effect as we go. I will do another section of this video. So later on in this video, I will show you how to do this in the round as well. And that is just almost exactly the same with one minor difference. So this is my last stitch of the row. I'm going to be working a single crochet, and instead of pulling through with the tan, I'm going to switch to the black. As a quick reminder, you will need to change color each row to get the houndstooth effect that you're going for. Okay, so I'm going to pause here, and since I'm carrying yarn, I always like to give it a little tug. If you don't and you carry your yarn too tight, it's going to cinch up your fabric and you're going to have weird tight spots like this. So I always like to just make it a good practice to check my carried yarn before I move on to the next row. Okay, so I'm going to chain 2. Now the black row starts with a double crochet. I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to carry that tan back across. So this, I'm going to pull it around, and I just like to carry behind. It's just a personal preference. If you prefer to carry in the front, you can, because it gets pretty well hidden in the stitches, but in my case, I pull the yarn to the back, and then I'm going to work my first double crochet through the stitch and then under the carried yarn. And that is going to allow me to carry my color all the way across without cutting. So double crochet, single crochet, and we're going to repeat that pattern across. And as we build on this, you're going to start seeing that houndstooth pattern emerge. But that is the basis of this stitch. Double crochet, single crochet, switch colors, switch rows. Now this stitch actually has a lot of different names. It's called the griddle stitch. I've seen it called lemon peel stitch. Yeah, it's probably got more even than that. Crochet stitches tend to pick up a lot of nicknames. But in this case, I'm calling it the houndstooth stitch. In my crochet patterns, I usually say, you know, work a houndstooth pattern, but I refer to it as the griddle stitch. So this is the end of this row. I'm going to check my tension on that carried yarn before I turn. And then I'm going to switch my color. I'm actually going to speed you ahead a couple rows here so you can kind of see the effect that you have after a few rows. It does take a couple rows to start seeing it, but you can almost start seeing that first row emerge. So let me go ahead and move you ahead in the video, and we'll take a look at what it looks like. Okay, so here I have completed 7 rows, and you can see the pattern really starting to pop. I think that this pattern works the best with 2 highly contrasting colors, so like black and tan, black and white. I wanted to point out that on one side, one color will be more prominent, and on another side, the other color will be. So like this side, color A, this side is color B. Just keep that in mind when you pick which one is the right side or wrong side of your project, that the color will be more prominent on one side versus the other. Okay, as promised, I'm going to show you guys in the round as well. This is a houndstooth mitt that I'm working on, and I'm going to work on my next round. So I have pink pulled up here. I'm going to chain 1 to start this round, and I'm going to single crochet in that first double crochet stitch. Now I am not carrying my yarn for this one. So when you're working in the round, you can actually just drop that yarn behind. You don't have to carry it with you. So I'm working a single crochet, double crochet pattern. Again, that same alternating stitches and alternating which stitch you're working in. So let me go ahead and get all the way around. I don't know if I mentioned, I think I did, but this is a houndstooth convertible mitt that I am making. This one is for my daughter. This pattern is written in child and adult sizes, and the base of the mitten is in the houndstooth pattern, and then it has a cute little fold over flap. So it's a fun pattern to try if you're wanting to play with this stitch. But all that to say, we're going to work all the way around in that alternating single crochet and double crochet pattern. And then I'm going to show you how I change colors for this. You can change colors differently if you would like. I've just found this to be the easiest way to do it. So my last stitch of the round should be a double crochet. I like to work even numbers in rounds so that my stitches line up well. And that means the first stitch was a single crochet, my last stitch should be a double crochet. I'm going to complete that stitch all the way through. I'm going to insert my hook under, and then I'm going to switch my color here. So while I untangle here, I'm going to explain a concept. When you're working this stitch, it does need to be worked back and forth in rows. So even though I'm working in the round, I still have to flip this over in order to get that pattern that I'm looking for. So I'm going to have to turn my work and go back the way I just came. This is easy enough to remember when you're working in rows because you're turning every time, but when you're working in rounds, it's important to remember that you can't just keep going the same way. Okay, so I've got this almost untangled here. Sorry, that was at least a good spot to explain a few extra things. So let's get this flipped around the way it should be. Sorry. This is how I keep my color work separated. I like to keep one color on each side so it doesn't tangle while I'm working. I move my project. So anyway, I've got one loop on my hook and I'm going to go under that single crochet stitch that we started with. I'm going to drop this color over here so we don't get tangled. I'm going to slip stitch with my contrasting color. Chain one and turn. So now I'm going to start my next row. This row, again, start with single crochet and we'll end with double crochet. So single, double, all the way around. And then I'm going to show you at the end of this round how you slip stitch from the back side, because we're working on the wrong side right now. When we work on the right side, the slip stitch is really easy. When we work on the wrong side, it's a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and skip to the end of this round. Okay, we're in the last stitch of the round. It is a double crochet because we started with the single crochet. Now I'm going to finish the stitch completely, and if I just do a basic like thing, my strand is going to be on the wrong side, so I can't just slip stitch right now. I'm going to take my hook out, I'm going to turn the work, and I'm going to go through the stitch first. So that's the single crochet that we started with, and then through the loop that my hook was on. So let me get that in there. And then through the loop that the hook was on. So this keeps my strand in the back, and then I'm going to pull through with the first color, and I'm going to chain one and repeat that. So the main differences between doing that in the round and doing it flat is I am carrying my yarn up instead of all the way around, and I'm working even numbers, and I'm also doing my slip stitch at the end a little bit differently. So then we can start our next round. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you would like some patterns to try this out on, I will link some for you below, and you can check out my free patterns at craftingforweeks.com.